He said he was going bankrupt as a joke, which I think was so ridiculously unprofessional. He had announcements that he went broke, he was filing bankruptcy, selling his plane. Now imagine you're one of those 3,200 investors with him and you hear this. And then you find out 24 hours later that he didn't mean it, it's not true. Usually when he runs through these scenarios, in the end, he talks about this is the best asset class in the world, this apartment buildings. Go ahead, go out there and buy yourself a $40 million building, because he knows you can't do it. So he says, or invest with me. The problem with investing with him is you don't get all the profit, you just get a piece of the property. And that in itself is why it doesn't make any sense. Over the years, I think he's given up some really pretty terrible advice for small investors, for sure. I'm not a fan of the fund. I'm not a fan of most funds, to be honest. Anyways, but
this is 6 things you're looking for when you buy a piece of real estate. If these 6 things do not exist, you're not going to buy a piece of real estate. These are my criteria for buying real estate. I actually have an extended list, but I'm going to tell you the short list real quick to keep things very, very simple. Number 1, cash flow. If it don't cash flow positive, I never buy it. Listen to me.
That's 100%. Agree with that.
I never buy it. Period. End of story. If it costs $10,000 a month for the mortgage, property insurance,
yeah, obviously, whatever the costs are, all this stuff. You know what? I believe Grant has had trouble, just like a lot of people, and they stop paying dividends on the funds. So that would be an indication of a problem with cash flow. He says he never buys them, but it doesn't mean they haven't gone sour on him, or at least temporarily. Grant was pretty critical of the big hoax was out about this big C hoax, I'll call it. He was shook up. He was kind of, in fact, I've got this little clip here. You can kind of see people break under pressure. He said he was going bankrupt as a joke, which I think was so ridiculously unprofessional. He had announcements that he went broke, he was filing bankruptcy, selling his plane. Now imagine you're one of those 3,200 investors with him and you hear this. And then you find out 24 hours later that he didn't mean it, it's not true.
You ain't cry baby, you ain't stupid baby, you ain't dumb. Yeah, I need my money, I gotta buy a Rolex.
It was not a great moment. And you know what I mean? I understand he was stressed and all, but I don't like the way he handled it. Let's just, Grant Cardone's 5 things he looks for. Let's see if we can get through this.
Running of the property, everything. Like, yeah, you take everything. Basically, you take all the rent, less all the expenses, less the interest and principal. You take all those things. If this number is not positive, don't do it, okay? These are the different reasons. See, insurance.
So yeah, and I 100% agree with what he's saying. 100% agree with what he's saying. Now, there are some exceptions to this. So I'll give you an example. I look for properties that are poorly managed, let's say. I'm going to show you one right here, 1,200. This is a property I bought a few years ago. Still have it, fantastic. So this is a commercial strip center. And also, Grant will tell you he doesn't like strip centers. Oh, people got to have a place to live. I love strip centers. This is so far superior to apartments. So far superior. When you have apartments, you've got carpet, you've got paint, you got to make those apartments ready every time somebody else is going to move in. You don't have any of that bullshit with commercial property. The tenant, you just deliver a clean white box. I made $1 million on this thing the day I bought it. In other words, I just picked up that equity, and it was going to the point of the property really didn't cash flow when I was buying it, but it was because it was poorly managed. It was under rented. The rents were too low, and the sellers just were kind of unaware. Anyways, so I made a deal on that, raised the rents, and makes a lot of money, and it's worth a lot more than I paid for it. So let's go back to Grant.
Stock market doesn't cash flow. Bitcoin doesn't cash flow.
It's funny, Bitcoin actually cash flowed here this last week or two, I guess. I wouldn't touch Bitcoin. I'm with, I think it's shit coin, I call it. Trading turds like, Warren Buffett. In fact, I would tell anybody, and I don't pretend to be an expert on it at all, I don't even think there is such a thing. I just think it's just stupid. I just think it's stupid. People buying it. It's trading turds. It's like hot potato. The last one that gets it, the last one gets stuck is going to get stuck with it.
Gold doesn't cash flow. A business cash flows. But the problem with a business cash flowing is you're having to work the business. You got to work it to earn it.
So I agree with what he's saying right now, because he knows you can't do it. So he says, or invest with me. The problem with investing with him is you don't get all the profit, you just get a piece of the property. And that in itself is why it doesn't make any sense. for people to invest in funds in general, unless somebody really has a stellar record.
Okay, real estate is passive cash flow, and that is the number one reason you want to do it. Number two, and I'm gonna give you one senior reason above all these. So just because it cash flows doesn't mean I'll buy it. It has to appreciate as well. If it will go up in value over time. Okay, you guys that are in North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, anywhere where there's job booms, maybe you had a big job boom, something freak happened outside of Austin, Texas, south and east, and Tesla went over there. Look, if nobody follows Elon out there, bro, that's gonna be a boom and bust market. North Dakota, Fargo has been a boom and bust market for years. People moved to Idaho, Boise. They flooded out of California to Boise. Will they stay there? I don't think so, but maybe. If they do, cool.
Yeah, you have to look at the draw. And like he talked about Austin, so look at Austin is far more than just Elon Musk and Tesla. They call it Silicon Hills now. This is my neighborhood, right? I mean, we've got Samsung, we've got Apple, we've got, just hundreds of thousands of square feet of office and cubes for employees of those companies. We've got huge soccer stadium now. So let's keep watching.
You get appreciation. If they don't stay, you got a problem.
Well, he's right. You don't want to get in a bust area. It's terrible when the Biden administration came in and canceled the pipeline, just killed that. I think it was South Dakota, right?
Okay, and next to depreciation, you want to write accelerated. I want to accelerate this depreciation. I want to put it on steroids. I don't want to write it off over 27 years. A home is depreciated over 27 years. You buy a house for $270,000, every year you get a $10,000 depreciation. An apartment building, 4 units, okay, $270,000, the same price. I can deduct probably $140,000 of that in the year I buy it. I could own it for 1 day and get a write-off. Depreciation.
A lot of people don't understand there's huge benefits with holding real estate just for the reasons he's saying. The write-offs and the depreciation. It's a paper depreciation. It's not a real one, but it works to offset. So it's a wonderful tool for lowering your taxes.
Of $140,000, which means my cash flow from the asset, these are connected, my cash flow from the asset will not be taxed for the first 4 or 5 years I own it. Okay, number 4, tax deferment. There's a thing called a 1031, okay? My company's actually working on creating a 1031 exchange, or what's called a DST, so that you could sell your property. My buddy just sold a storage property for $8 million. Storage is great, by the way. Storage, retail.
RV parks.
RV parks, enormous. I'm looking at a guy's RV. He's got a massive RV collection, pads, where he just gets the passive income. Passive income, he got the appreciation. Not a lot of depreciation, not a lot because it's an RV pad, but my buddy sells the storage units. He makes $8 million. He can move that $8 million into a like-kind exchange or 1031 and not pay taxes. And
understand, like-kind is pretty broad. He doesn't have to buy another RV park. He could roll that into a commercial building or office building, kind of like real estate for real estate.
Number 5, you want to be able to finance or refinance these properties. One of the biggest scores I've ever had in my life was refinancing a piece of property I don't own for 5 or 6 years. Me and Jared bought a deal. How much was that deal, Jared? $4 million?
Yeah, $4
million. I bought that deal with $300,000 down. How much did you put, Jared?
$150.
He put $150,000 down. Okay, I put the rest down. We bought this deal. This was in
2012.
2012. In 2013, we refinanced the property. We owed $3.6 million. It was on my schedule of assets. He was my partner in the deal. Okay, I didn't do the whole deal. I did part of it with him, and
I got 90 grand back.
He put $150,000 down, and a year later got $90,000 back. This is a refinance, right? If you're taking notes, or a recapitalization of his investment. Number 6 way to make money in real estate is to sell it. The worst way is number 6. The biggest mistake I ever made in real estate was not getting started. Second biggest mistake was going too small. Third biggest mistake was buying too few properties. Okay, like I didn't follow it up. I should have stayed in the neighborhood. Number 4 biggest mistake I ever made was selling any of my real estate.
All right, look at Grant. He is, over the years, I think he's given up some pretty terrible advice for small investors for sure. I'm not a fan of the fund. I'm not a fan of most funds, to be honest. But I appreciate him sharing. And like I say, if anybody here is interested in learning how to invest, because believe me, you got to know how to invest. Certainly before you throw your money in with somebody else, you should still know how to invest. But if you know how to invest, you'll never have to throw in money with anybody else. Or if you do, you'll be the one in charge. Be sure to get in the webinar. I'll talk to you. Just go here to FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. And again, your classmates, if you get in, you're just going to be among the wealthiest real estate students there are, and the brightest, smartest. It's very, very cool. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, FlipAnythingUSA.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face to face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.